All right. Welcome, everybody, to the show. It's going to be the exciting one today because we have a new series. That's right. Just when you thought we had plenty of series to take care of, I decided to come up with this brand new series because there's certain movies out there that I consider mandatory to watch, especially in these days. But since my channel is primarily about love, not just life, I'm going to choose movies that people regard as just another action flick, a B-rated movie, nothing serious. No. You guys have to see through the movie beyond the violence that they usually portray, beyond the adventures, the special effects, and look at the main point of the movie. What is it really trying to tell you? What is the movie really trying to tell you? So that's why I started this series, because I'm going to be taking a look at very specific movies that I consider very important to watch because of the message that's not necessarily hidden, but very important for everybody to realize. So let's go ahead and get started. This movie is called Equilibrium. I believe in the early 2000s it was released. I watched it over and over and over again, many times, because it has a beautiful story. It is on the more fantasy side, but no, it's realistic in its own ways. It has a lot of non-realistic scenes, but it's the messages that they're trying to tell you. So let's go ahead and go over it. So Christian Bale is the protagonist. Minor spoilers. I'm not going to give all the spoilers. I want you guys to enjoy this movie. Minor spoilers, okay? These are just things that it doesn't matter if I tell you. You're going to enjoy it anyways. Okay, so let's go ahead and proceed. So what is this movie about? Well, okay, let's go ahead and go in this. This is like the future dystopian reality. That's right, Big Pharma. What did you expect? So the solution to war and terror is to literally numb the entire world. Sound familiar? With drugs. I don't care if you want to call them vaccines, but these are dosages. These are dosages of pills that just numb all your senses. So the main senses that they want to numb is the feeling of love, the feeling of hate, any intense emotion. It pretty much numbs. So they take their morning intervals and their evening intervals, probably an afternoon interval, with these little guns that they inject into their neck, and it just shoots the serum straight into their system. So numbs the mind and emotions, I guess to a certain extent the body. No more intense feelings. That's what it's called, prosium. And that's a dystopian reality that these people inject in themselves. So it sounds good, no more war, but what's the point of life without love? See that? And it's interesting because I feel that this is what we're actually living nowadays. Except instead of injecting your guys' bodies with prosium, it's almost as if nobody cares about the topic of love anymore. Nobody believes in love anymore. And that's the people's fault for being weak, for accepting weakness as reality. It's not life's fault. And if the shoe fits, it's your fault. You gave up on yourself. You gave up on humanity. Even in its darkest hour, it doesn't matter. Will you give up on yourself? On the reality that love is not just a possibility, but our main reason for existing. And I'm not just talking about general love. Okay, people? This is not Disney. You have to defend yourself when you have to defend yourself against anybody. But I'm talking about true love with your partner, your one and only. your soulmate. Because if you don't believe in that, you have no reason for existing. You can pay your bills and do whatever job you want. You have no reason. And there's a lot of bitterness online especially that reflects this reality. That people have lost their way. So love is the answer. But are they wise enough to see it? Are they intelligent enough to know it? That's why I created my own book and my movie for those who don't like reading or don't have time. But will you watch it? Will you read it? Because if you don't care about the topic of love, you could easily become passive and just ignore my teachings. Because I am a teacher. I'm a life coach, but I'm much more than that. If you want me to, I could be your friend. But in order for that reality to happen, you're going to have to care about the topic of love itself and not take it lightly. Because I don't enjoy cheap conversations, meaningless conversations that go nowhere. Alright, so Christian Bale is a martial arts gun master. They call him gun katas. Pretty much total control of the gun. They combine martial arts with pistols primarily, but there are some machine guns in this movie. Semi-automatic rifles. Actually, automatic rifles. The life of a cleric. They're leaders of rebel extermination squads. So a cleric is like the highest trained human weapon, if you will. An assassin, not really. Agents. You know, kind of like the Matrix. So here's his first partner. Like I said, minor spoilers. Don't worry, minor spoilers. So his first partner helps him cracking down on sense offenders. Remember, you're not allowed to feel love for anything, whether it be artwork, antiques, inventions. So as a cleric, him and his partner go down arresting anybody who is not taking their prosium injections. And because they're sense offenders, obviously they're feeling if they're not taking their drug, prosium, to numb their senses, right? So those who are not taking their drug and they're collecting antiques, they're known as the rebels. They want to restore humanity back to the way it was because they know that it's a dystopian future, what they're living. So his partner, remember, minor spoilers, his partner starts to act a little strange. You can kind of see it in this photo here, this image. His partner, Errol Partridge, played by Sean Bean, seizes his prosium dose intervals. You can tell in the movie. I'm not going to tell you details. And so Christian Bale, let's see, his name is, in the movie, Preston. He starts to notice that. And I'm not going to show the image of the boss in this movie because I want you guys to enjoy it. He does a great performance. You know, he says, he wants him to be vigilant because I'm going to tell you what happened in Preston's life, played by Christian Bale. Anyways, so we know that his partner starts to stop the dosage of prosium. And here he is. So he's caught by his partner, Christian Bale, playing Preston, reading a poetic book here by Yeats. We'll get into what specific poem he's reading, by the way. So his partner starts to feel and cares about why are we burning all this art and all these inventions and things that make us feel good? You know, why are we doing it? And we're going to start burning it until there's nothing left. And so Preston, he starts to actually think about that. And so let's take a look at the poem that he's reading because it has a lot to do with the theme of the movie. He wishes for the cloths of heaven by W.B. Yeats. Had I the heavens embroidered cloths and wrought with golden and silver light, the blue and the dim and the dark cloths of night and light and of the half light, I would spread the cloths under your feet. Now here's the most important part that they actually reveal in the movie. I would spread the clouds. Okay, so but I, being poor, have only my dreams. I have spread my dreams under your feet. Tread softly because you tread on my dreams. You'll know what that means in the movie, but he's wondering, all these poor people that they're annihilating, all these people preserving artwork and anything that preserves humanity's expression of feeling. So he just started. He really fell in love with this poem here, but as I said, minor spoilers. Our protagonist here, Christian Bale, Preston, is forced to kill him. Don't worry, because there's plenty more to this movie. It's not really a huge spoiler. It's right in the beginning. Literally in the beginning. So I have to tell you this because without telling you this, you won't understand pretty much the rest of the movie without main spoilers. So he's forced to kill him because, well, your partner's feeling, and you guys are clerics. You guys are part of the extermination squads to kill the rebels. So if you stop your prosium dose, then now you're a rebel. So his new partner, I think Taye Diggs plays his partner here. He's like pretty much like a government agent, same thing, a cleric. So he's his new partner. And it reminds me of today how we have agents similar to this, not really the martial arts stuff, but they're making watching lists and making lists of possible resistance in the future. Everybody is on a list if you care about life and love. If you're not a sheeple, a blind sheeple, then you're on some type of list, but don't be afraid. They're just trying to keep tabs on you because knowledge is power. And so he starts to get a little suspicious, and here's the flag of the place that they live in is the city of Libria, because it stands for liberty. So Libria. I'm sure you know what this flag resembles. I don't need to actually explain this. Basically, balance and harmony without feeling. So, a bunch of zombies, if you will. That's the dystopian future because, you're numbing your senses and to prevent war, right? Anyway, so in the movie, minor spoiler, but it's not a huge spoiler because I'm not going to tell you what happens. Preston, he lost his wife, I'll get to that, to sense offense because she stopped her dosage. She seized the dose. So she gets arrested and pretty much incinerated. But then Preston meets this woman, and this is what people just completely forget. This is what the story's really about. He's trying to be this pretty much an assassin, murderer of the resistance, and then he starts to feel for the first time. Not even with his first wife was he feeling. It was just mechanical. And when they took her away, he was kind of curious, hey, what was she feeling? Because she stopped the dose, and he never stopped his dose. So the feeling of attraction, wanting to fall in love, perhaps for the first time because his wife was incinerated. So this could be the first time he's actually falling in love with a woman who just, by the way, minor spoiler, it's not really important, happens to be his partner, Errol's lover, the one that he just killed. It reminds me of The Last Samurai, where Tom Cruise killed what's her name's husband, and then takes over the place of her husband and has to live in the same house. And she says she just wants to commit suicide because she's literally living with her husband's killer. So it's kind of like that, if you want to refer to that, another movie similarity. Let's go ahead and move on here. So his partner just starts to become more weary because Preston starts making these awkward calls, trying to preserve the rebels' lives and say, hey, maybe they should be studied for infections and stuff. Even dogs in general, puppies. He starts because he stops his dose, right? So his partner's on to him during the whole movie. It's not a spoiler. It's not a spoiler at all. It's just his partner's onto him. I mean, it's logical. So he starts studying him as a possible sex offender. And it's kind of a question mark in the movie. Does he already know? Well, I'll leave that for you to find out. So here he is the first time he meets this one woman that is a sex offender. For instance, the mirror is illegal. You see the artwork to it. It's just supposed to be a flat square and nothing more. No fancy borders are allowed. So he starts to notice the feminine beauty and feelings of love, attraction. This is a flashback of his wife in the past being taken away and incinerated for a sex offense. So she stopped her dosages, and he didn't know. So he was surprised here, completely shocked. And they took her away and incinerated her, and he's stuck with a son and a daughter to raise. And it's interesting because in the movie they had two separate beds. So they don't love each other. They just, if they produce, they produce. But imagine producing kids without any love. It's just a process because they're on the drug, Prozium. So, arrested for seizing the Prozium dosage. So that's pretty much a flashback. So now he's feeling love for the first time, and he doesn't know what to do. I think he's gonna think about joining the resistance, right? Because what other choices he have? He's not gonna go back on the drug because he's starting to feel. So that's why this movie is so important, because it reminds you of the importance of feeling. This is what human beings are here for. To experience the human experience of life and love. And this is what people forget because they're dumbing down their mind and they're numbing their senses, their emotions. They forget what love is, the greatest emotion you could possibly feel. But look at how pathetic society has become. Denying the existence of love, especially true love, soulmate status, because they're too lazy, they're too docile, they're too stupid to even know the possibilities of how far love can take you. So that's why I'm here. And I know I don't expect anybody to take me seriously in the sense of, oh, let me trust this guy right off the bat. No. But guess what? Those who have taken me seriously are extremely happy. And I'm glad to be part of their happiness because now they see. Now they know. So you won't understand what I'm about until you read my book or watch my movie or both. Especially both. I recommend both because now you'll really understand what I'm about. And I feel like Preston in this life, you know? It's like, oh my goodness, am I the only one who really feels the truth? No, because there's an underground resistance. They know exactly how you feel. So it's refreshing in this movie to know that the rebels, they're keeping track of him. They know what he's feeling. So here's a picture of Father, the dictator in command. I'm not going to spoil it. So no war, no feeling, senseless, meaningless lives is what peace is. And he's like the propaganda machine, just on the television all the time, brainwashing the kids, brainwashing the adults. Take your Prozium dosages so you don't feel anything. It's really sad. So I personally identify with Preston. It's, trying to find a way to solve the main problem in this world, which is love. Because as soon as human beings deny the existence of love, we are done. We're going to fall on our own sword like a bunch of idiots, and we're done. You don't believe me? It's already happening. It's been happening for a while now. I'm way too late to the party. I'm way too late. Humans have forgotten how to love. I mean, really love each other. I have to defend myself against evil people online. Luckily, not offline. But online, it's the biggest parasite I can actually identify. The biggest real epidemic. None of this fake stuff. Is the challenge of telling people that love exists and that they're wasting their lives by taking drugs and drinking alcohol and not even wanting to talk about the topic of love. I seriously identify with Preston here. You have to think about the best solution. So that's why I wrote the book and I made my movie, because I said, you know what, this is the least I can do at this moment. But it's not enough. So I provide free content and it's still not enough. People are just going to, for the most part, continue to ignore the existence of love, and they're not even going to praise it. They're just going to remain numb. And look at that. They're not even taking injections of Prosium. They're injecting themselves with lies and evil, because that's what numbs the senses: fear and doubt and disbelief. So that's the main problem. One of the reasons I love this movie is because, well, it has a fairy tale ending, unrealistic, one man against everything, like a Rambo style movie or Matrix style movie. But at least it's still the message of hope that maybe one man can help bring about change, because he was nothing in this movie without the resistance. And he says it. He says, if I do all this for you guys, I sacrifice myself, is it really going to be worth it? Because the odds are against us. And the resistance says, of course. But you're the key, because you're going to be the leader. You're going to help us from the top. And it's just a selfless service. It's not like, oh, look at me, I'm the leader of everybody. No, he's scared for his life, because he's like, okay, I'm going to lead you guys, but is this even possible? And I ask myself that every single day. Is this even possible? Are people ever going to take me in a mass scale seriously? I mean, I'm very grateful for all the people who have placed their trust in me. Not just my products, but the words that I speak and that I have spoken, especially offline. Online, it's a jungle, it's a circus. It's far more difficult to talk to people online than offline. Offline, I have small crowds listening, and I enjoy speaking to them, both in Spanish and English. But online, it's a zoo, it's a prison. It's trying to speak to people who, it's like a different language. They don't understand the words that are coming out of my mouth. They don't want to talk about it. So this is the human condition that I fear, is that, thanks to technology, people are quickly becoming more and more numb. They're not apathetic. They're way beyond that. They're numb. Their senses are so numb, they don't even know what being human is about. It's pathetic. It's sad. And I don't know what the future is going to hold. So I'm just going to keep my head up high and continue doing what I'm doing. And even if it's a select few, I'd rather have 100 lions behind me and beside me than 1,000 stupid sheep. Useless sheep. So, fighting to save the world. That's what I like this movie for. Restoring the freedom to feel for all. Let's go ahead and move on. So, yes, it's a dramatic ending and everything. I'm not going to spoil it for you. Does he die or not? I'll leave that up for you to watch if you haven't watched this movie already. So, it's exactly what's happening to our world today. People are numb to the feeling of love, their apathetic lifestyles, anger and misery. Anger and misery. And mediocre lifestyles. Dumbing down of their senses. So here's a more accurate behind the scenes look at the weapon that he primarily uses in the movie. Notice the emblem there on the grip. That you-know-what style emblem. Supposedly stands for balance. I love the level of detail. It's a non-stop plot action movie. No wasted time. Gets straight to the point. So going back to how I feel about this movie and why I recommend it, because I love the intensity of this movie when it comes to the topic of love. But it's just right there in the center of the movie. You got to see past the gun scenes and all the killing and stuff, and you got to look at what's at the center of it all, and that's the topic of love, which I guess the majority of people just are numb to. They can't even see that in this movie. The love of life, the love of love itself. Alright, so this reminds me right here, once again, going back to the beginning, in order to end this stream, it reminds me of my book. It's a poetic solution for all to follow, my own wise words of wisdom, yet only a few will fully understand. Thank you. Big shout out to Wrights Crispy. He just read my book lightning fast, but he understood every single part of my book because we spoke for hours, and I'm like, oh my goodness, you remember that part? He took notes. So impressive. So he's the leader right now online, because offline we talk about my book all the time and my movie too. Literally bringing people to tears. So thank you. You guys know who you are offline, but people online, they're different. And so Wrights Crispy, hopefully my book did move you. Hopefully you'll check out my movie too. But thank you so much for really paying attention. You are a true scholar. I wish there was so many more people like you. So many more people eager to just jump into the topic. No nonsense. And discuss it like the way you discussed it. It was a truly honorable experience. And thank you so much for that. And with that said, that special shout out, I'd like to end the stream right here. Going to the chat, see if I have any gifts, any regalos. Maria Olivares, a true leader. Let's see here. Oh, the time here in Germany is 1 o'clock in the morning, so had to stay up a little bit late today because I had other stuff to tend to. Let's see. Yeah, the 30s and 40s for love stories are a little too simple. I prefer the complexities of the later movies, more plot, kind of more noise to filter through, if you will. So let's see here. When I watch these panels, almost everyone doing some kind of drugs. Yes, if it's marijuana or if it's alcohol, it's just pathetic. It's really sad. I'm actually considering not participating in these panels anymore where people talk about marijuana and they're drinking alcohol. It's really just stupid, and I'm really getting tired of it, actually. Substance abuse. Let's see. Without love and hope, we are doomed. Exactly. Thank you, Maria. Muchas gracias. People are not going to be ready for what is coming. Their jaws are going to drop. Yeah, and I'm not going to be there to explain it. So thank you so much, Maria. When the future, their plans for the billionaires who control the governments like puppets, for the stupid sheeple who are going to be running to my left and right, like, what's going on? I don't have time for you. You guys were stupid then, and you're going to be stupid now in the future, and I don't have time. I got to think about saving my own life and the life of my soulmate, and the life of those who are actually intelligent enough to care about the topic of love, because love will save us, by the way. Not your weapons. You think your stupid guns are going to save you from what's coming? They sold you the guns. You idiots. If the shoe fits. You think your guns are going to save you. See, that's the problem with the United States. They're like, we have our guns. And the whole rest of the world doesn't, so you're screwed. No, you guys are screwed. Because they're going to easily win that war. Because they know everybody. What you have, everything. You guys have no idea that, oh my God. And when the people start falling, when it happens, that's going to be your awakening. And guess what? The intelligence that you were supposed to have studied is not going to be there. Knowledge is going to win this one. And especially love and perseverance of humanity itself. But you guys think it's all about pew, pew, pew. So enjoy your little pea shooters, as you will go down in fire and flames. Because, sorry, man, I wouldn't do it. Because that's just being stupid. You're fighting evil with evil. And evil's worst enemy is actually love, the power of love. If you laugh at that, you're going to be the first one to drop to the ground for being stupid. The useless resistance. So the real resistance are those who actually know how they're taking over the world and strategically what to do about it. Because it has nothing to do with firearms, believe it or not. And mass, in the big masses of people that we have, it's going to go back to the rock throwing days, the solutions. We're not talking about throwing rocks. I'm just saying it has nothing to do with the modern weapons technology. Anyways, for those who don't understand that, I feel sorry for you because, you can talk to me about it in Discord, but I know you're not going to do it anyways because ignorance is bliss. But to Maria, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So thank you so much, Maria Olivares, and others who actually, like Rights Crispy. He's a truther. He knows exactly how useless guns are going to be. People are going to be dropping like flies, and even the 50 cals and sniper rifles, that's why they sold them to you, to give you the illusion of protection. That's not going to protect you. It's the stupid, ignorant people to your left and right that are going to be your downfall. They will eat you on the barbecue. They will. Those are the people you should be fearing, not your governments. So with that said, sorry to end it on a sad note, but this movie has everything to do with it. And thank you so much, Maria Olivares. I'm going to have to end the stream right here. It's been a great half an hour spending with you guys. And please watch this movie. This is episode 1 of the recommended movies that I'm going to recommend in terms of what people don't see. It's actually about love. So, movies about love, episode 1. Hope you guys enjoyed, and have a good one. Till next time.